Good evening, Patreon family. How are you? I just wanted first, before I started, to tell you guys how much you mean to me and how much you just push me to keep going every day and sharing the story, sharing the experiences of Lonnie's life, and understanding that there's a bigger purpose than me just reading it, that others have gone through these situations. And not only are you not alone, but I'm not alone. And it really means the world to me. So thank you. So, chapter 10 of The Snake That Never Sheds, My Dark, Lonely World. From the start, I felt so at home with BH, my new foster parent. She was a best friend and the mother I never had, all rolled into one. I mean, she really cared about me. She was entirely concerned with all the abuses and traumas I had suffered, and now was committed to the healing process. She spent hours, days, and weeks listening to the stories of my life. Right away, she took me to a therapist. I hated going, but I would do anything for her. I wanted to make her as happy as she made me. From the moment I moved in, I wanted her to adopt me. BH's family was nothing like mine. We spent Sundays at her parents', and they were the sweetest people I had ever met. Her mother, I soon called Grandma, would make us huge feasts all from scratch. Her father, my grandpa, would sneak me candy bars before we ate, a big no-no, and take me ice fishing on the weekends. BH's sister would come over honking the horn of her little red Honda, and her dog, a look-alike of Toto, would run and jump right into my arms. Every moment I spent with them, I felt so loved, so special. It was a real family. I just wished my sisters could be part of it all. I didn't try to fool myself, though. I knew that would never happen. For my birthday, BH, her sister, and I went canoeing down the St. Croix River. I got beaten by the sun and was fried from head to toe on our 4-hour tour, just in time for the big birthday and welcome home party with my friends. KR lived on a lake, and we spent the entire time on the boat tubing, even with the sun blasting my skin even harder. It was all just what I needed after all I had been through the last 6 months. Even the burn felt like it would allow my skin to shed all the toxins I had taken in. There were about 10 to 15 girls that spent the night. Around the bonfire, I spent time telling them how much I missed them and how much they all meant to me. In the morning, BH came to pick me up. When I got into the car, the back seat was filled with packed suitcases. She surprised me with a trip to Mackinac Island, Michigan for my birthday gift. It was so much fun. We went to cute antique stores, ate their famous fudge, got t-shirts, and watched the fireworks on a yacht. The trip was so surreal. All of this was. How could this be my life? Why did my sisters still have to stay with the crazies and I get all of this? Why was I there with BH and they weren't with me? All I could do was hope for the best. That the parents had somehow changed. That me leaving scared them straight. Scared them enough to believe if they didn't behave and treat the girls right, they too would be taken away. All summer we spent playing softball, going golfing, and sharing smiles. When school started, everyone could see the difference. Sun rays were coming out of my ass, of course they could. Everyone seemed to be genuinely happy for me. And there were some unexpected changes in me as well. My grades continued to be good. I normally would have cheated off of my friends or just not cared prior to the Amory experience, but now they were asking me for answers. I truly, for the first time in my life, felt a sense of pride other than sports. Something that came so easily couldn't actually be counted. I absolutely love the feeling of being intelligent. Not only the feeling, but actually learning in and of itself. So I felt like I had it all, except for, of course, my sisters. I had a loving family, my friends, the grades I had always wanted, band, choir, volleyball, gymnastics, and I had 2 jobs. High school was definitely for me. I was in heaven until that winter. I had still been staying in contact with WP and JP since living with them. I had stayed at their place a handful of weekends. BH was okay with me going over there, but at times seemed a bit jealous. She dropped me off at their front door. I walked in as though I had never left. WP told me she was leaving to go to her reunion at her college alma mater for the weekend in Colorado. I would just, sorry, I would just be having a weekend to me and JP, which of course would have to be the best time ever because he made everything so fun. She gave me hints of what we could look out for while we were Christmas shopping for her. After she left, JP explained he had already gotten her gifts, but we needed to go get some wrapping paper. He actually forgot to pay for his gas when we went inside to grab snacks, so we had to go all the way back into town. This was not looking like such a fun night. When we got back, we sat on the couch and watched a Garth Brooks concert on TV. He had actually become my favorite because of JP's affinity for him. We said goodnight after some time and went to retire to our own rooms. He was the closest thing I ever had to a father, a real father who loved me and protected me and made me feel safe whenever he was near. When when morning came, we jumped onto his snowmobile and left for the day. We had an early dinner at Trap Rock, a little dive bar restaurant. We were sitting at the bar. He had a few beers, and I was sipping on a Diet Pepsi. The can somehow got switched with the guys next to me. As I swallowed, my face became green. I looked up, looked at the can, put my hand over my mouth, and dashed for the bathroom. I vomited everywhere. The man next to me at the bar had been using a Diet Pepsi can as a spittoon for his chew. I still gag thinking about it. Our adventure for the day ended quite dramatically. We hopped on the snowmobile in the dark. A chill went down my spine. The taste of vomit still filled my mouth, better than the chew mixed with some random old man's saliva. With my arms wrapped tightly around JP, we made it home in an hour. When we got back, I immediately headed towards the shower and brushed my teeth about 1,000 times. I hopped into my jammies and went to the couch. JP laid down opposite me. He covered us in a couple of blankets. I was so exhausted from the day, my body felt like jello. As I laid there in a trance staring at the TV, I felt JP's hand caress my feet. I had a nauseous feeling overtake my body. I quickly reassured myself that I was safe. Everything was fine. It was only my past making me feel uncomfortable. I was wrong. JP took my feet and pushed them close, too close. I was frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. My mind was racing. No, no, not you. Not my hero. Do not do this to me. Please don't. I stayed there paralyzed, feeling him push his manhood onto my sweet little toes, his hand rubbing higher and higher, up my ankle, onto my knee, up the inside of my thigh. With each stroke, he was breathing harder, and I not breathing at all. I stared into space at the TV, feeling as though my grandfather had arisen. He kept each stroke of his hand synchronistically reaching higher, each thrust of his groin harder. This could not be happening. He was the only man in my life I had ever trusted. How could he want what was between my legs, more than what we shared between our hearts? How could he want what was between my legs when he was with the most beautiful woman I had ever seen? But higher and higher he went, pushing my panties into me with his fingers. Only a few hours prior were holding my hand. He stopped and stood up. I thought, oh my God, thank you, thank you. He stopped himself because he didn't want to hurt me. Then he bent over, kissed me on the forehead. picked me up in his gigantic arms and carried me like a groom does with his wife on his wedding day into his and WP's bed. As he climbed on top of me, he pulled down his underwear, then mine. Pulling my legs apart, he pushed and pushed. Finally, I made my voice work. Stop, you're hurting me. Please stop, it hurts. But he didn't. He just kept pushing until finally he broke through. As I lay there silent, tears rolled down the sides of my face, into my hair, and finally onto the top of WP's pillow. When he was done, all he said was, go to your room. The next morning, neither of us spoke a word as he drove me home to BH's. That was the last time I had ever stayed at the Peace. I never told BH or WP, not even my therapist. A part of me felt if I told, they would think I wanted it to happen. But more than this was the fact that I didn't want to ruin WP's happiness. She loved JP, and I didn't want to disrupt the life she loved. One of my biggest regrets in many ways, because it has always weighed heavily on my heart. Somehow I feel I have possibly caused her more pain by not divulging the truth of who he really was, and she basically wasted her entire life in a complete lie. At the time, my thinking was off. How could it not be? I knew if I told BH or my therapist, they would make me tell WP, and she would get hurt. So I said nothing. I avoided their calls, and if I ran into them around town, I acted like nothing had happened, even giving JP a hug. If I didn't pretend nothing had changed, WP would for sure ask me what was wrong, and I just didn't want to bring her into my world, my dark, lonely world. So I guess that regret is kind of a wash now since I'm sharing it with all of you. I'm a little nervous that now it will come out, and it's been years and years and years. So I'm just giving it to the universe to decide what to do with it, I guess. Thank you all so much for continuing to go on this journey with me. And I hope you all are also including your own stories in your own story with the prompts. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. And yeah, I love you all. Thank you so much for your continued support. And remember, you're never alone. If you need anything, you know where to find me. I love you. Have a great night.